As the story goes on, update on this Freedom Stand. That's the design model of the stand. The reason I built that was to hang this Maytag on. Now that I'm to this point, the engine actually is going to it's going to be a one piece, even though they're separate. So the design, I hope, will complement each other. At this point, I have to have a running engine. It's going to be an operating display. I got a bad crankshaft in yonder. I had this engine right here on the sideboard over there. I think I paid $20 for it. It was not all there. The magnet was missing. It was locked up. No good. This is the piston that came out of it. But I needed a crankshaft. I had never took it apart, and I got the crankshaft. I'm going to show it to you. It's in the vise over here. I've been working with it. I'm going to use it because this is probably the scenario that you will have there on your workbench, as me and you are conversing now. Anyways, I'm up to this point now that I've got a new set of rings. So the design I had envisioned on this was the whatever model washing machine it would have came on, but there's a kicker that comes up like this right here. It's kind of like on the 1937 model, even though this is a late model. But I am going to use that kicker. It will be complementary to the style. But I'm going to build this engine, and out of that I took it all apart. And this is the kind of stuff that you will encounter there at your house. You know, get that piston out of there. You need to know what kind of part you need to looking for. This is the kind of stuff you're going to be dealing with. Some of them you just can't fix. You have to have more than one. With that said, the piston on the other side was quite good. I think I will say that. And I was fooling around with the rings. They was stuck fast when I started fooling with it. But I see right there already they're coming loose. But they're really shiny under. Oh, they're really glossy. I would have said this engine, and I'm having you say it. We're going to put them on there. I do have another piston. And on the Maytag piston, you will have, on the bottom, you will have one thick ring. On the top, you will have two rings of the same thickness to fill up that groove. That's usually the problem on a ring, is side play. One of the surprising things I found out about this engine, and I've done already. I'm gonna show it to you. I've done already been shining on that crank. It was like this right here. Can y'all see that? It was all discolored, but it looked real good and everything, so I've been shining it up there. About 600 grit or something, you know, not too much. What surprised me about this engine is I'm going to build this engine with this crankshaft. I've done already run a die on the crankshaft. I've done did that. Be sure to do that every time you take an engine apart and you see a thread. Just, you know, you don't even have to write it on the book. You know it's to be done. At this point, that's as good as that can get. The gasket that goes here, and I'm just going to do this in 1 or 2 episodes. I'm not going to draw this out. I'm just going to get it done. So if there's something really that I'm missing, just leave a comment down there, and we'll talk about it. Show you something here, even if we have to take it back apart. I know, no, let's draw the line at that. I am going to do some metal shaping on this. These outer bearing here it's so surprising how little wear this engine has on it. To put this back together now, I think it's a real late model, but to put it back together just where that's got a good play, and the play like this right here now, going back and forth like this right here, it is hardly none. It's just unbelievable. Also on this side, it's not enough to put no bushings in it. Very seldom. And I'll tell you what, too. Let me tell you something else, too. You're going to learn something right now. If you have gasoline coming out the side of your Maytag, dripping out, even in the exhaust pipe in the front or in this, where the seal's out here, if you have gasoline coming out there, yeah, it's not the fault of the engine. It's your fault, the operator. You flooded the engine. in gasoline engine theory, there should be no gasoline in the engine, only vapor. When you've got it raw enough gasoline till it drips out, that means you have flooded that engine turbally enough to where it flushed any oil you had built up in there. It flushed it out along with it being wore out. If you've got any play whatsoever there, it telescopes. If you have this side play right here, where this right here will move to and fro like this, then you can just imagine what it's doing to your big end of your crank and also the wrist pin. It's doing this right here as it runs. So the more you let this wire, it just telescopes down the powertrain. Vibration even. So, but anyways, we're going to build this. I got some more cylinders and I got another piston. We're going to get her done. See, this engine has been a long time without having a flywheel on it, and it's rusted up really turbo bad. So I got this piece of emery cloth here, and you just work it until you see, when you see it, the very first instance that you see that go shiny, then you quit. Don't make it too much. And I've got a couple of wood blocks in the vise back there and you only need to do the taper part right there and keep moving around. Don't do it in one place very long. Just when it gets shiny, move on. Okay, one more place. And don't be afraid to move it more times than one, because you don't want a flat place on it, whatever you do. It needs to maintain the same taper. That's good enough right there, no more. Same way it goes up here, and it's about a 600, somewhere around a 600 grit. And even a 600 that's wore out is, okay too. On up to 1,000, you want that to be really slick. Something else I might tell you, when you're shining these up and you come up on now on this 2-cylinder here, now it's got that there vent hole in yonder, that where the lubricant comes out yonder. If you have a little divot, a little small place there, you'll be able to see it by a shadow line. When you turn it around and a shadow gets on it, see right there, that dark place right yonder? Well, y'all can't see that, but it's real small, but it's downward. It's a peck that went inward, and then when I went across it with this right here, I buffed off the top of it. Okay, I don't want to take that out, because if I take that out, then it will be a whole big old swag in there. So I'm going to leave it like it is. That's enough right there. And I'll do the other side the same procedure. And also the throws on the crankshaft, the same thing on them. These are discolored, but I've been looking at them, and I did one, so it's perfectly serviceable. The first thing I did on this is took that governor out there, and I'll show you something. Y'all see that governor there? And that's about the first thing I took out of the engine. Right up in there, there's some little flakes of, it looks to me like sand particles. How they got there, I don't know, but there's several of them in there. Yeah, they're hard. It's a little, yeah, it's dust. And that's a perfect reason not to sandblast nothing, because that little stuff there gets in your piston rings and plays havoc. I'm telling you, to cause your engine to quit running. You ought to take these apart and make sure that you got one in there and it's a good one.